Getting to know the story behind the headlines. Akron News Now reports with more depth on the stories you need to know on WAKR News Now.
It's fair to say that State Issue 2 dominated most political advertising and a lot of the political talk over the last several weeks and months throughout Ohio. State Issue 2, of course, failed in the November general election. Akron News Now's Ray Horner had a chance to get some analysis on the issue from the University of Akron's Dr. John Green.
Oh, this was huge. A very major and significant victory for the opponents of Issue 2. That's the people who wanted to repeal State Senate Bill 5. You know, you and I talked a little while ago about this based on some research we've done at the Institute. And one of the possibilities we'd outlined in that research was that the momentum of the no campaign would continue to build. And we didn't know that would happen, but that was a possibility. And I think that's, in fact, what did happen, because the margin of victory yesterday was larger than even the strongest supporters had hoped for, and much bigger than what the polls were showing. So I think the momentum of that campaign just swept it into to victory at a very large margin. And I think there's no question where the people of Ohio stand on this issue. They don't like Senate Bill 5, and their message to the state government is go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, and it was interesting because I talked yesterday to people on both sides of the fence on Issue 2, but they both agreed that the whole issue was very confusing. You really had to dive into the issue.
Yeah, it was very confusing, and it was difficult. You and I talked about that a little bit earlier. Just it would be hard for people to figure out where to end up. And for many of those people, the safe place to be was on the no side.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't understand where we're going to go with this, let's not make the change until we've had some chance to find out about it. But at root, Senate Bill 5 was a complicated bill. It had a lot of different things in it. And, in that context, it is confusing and difficult to make up what's what.
Issue 3 does pass, though, which is eye-opening.
Yeah, that's really quite interesting. Many people, myself included, felt that Issue 2 and Issue 3 would kind of track together. And, one might win, one might lose. That was not clear, but we thought that, the votes would be pretty close, but voters voted in apparently opposite directions, right? Voting strongly to reject Issue 2, but strongly to support Issue 3, which is about the national health care law and exempting Ohioans from the individual mandate, one of the key parts of the national health care law. And so we get a mixed message out of, a real opposition to the state-level changes, but comparable opposition to some national-level changes. The voters just seem to be very skeptical of these big reform efforts.
Chris Kepler, AkronNewsNow.com.
More news, weather, sports, business, entertainment, and community on AkronNewsNow.com and always on WAKR News Now.